Today we're going to be working with the first skill in our second unit. We call the unit ATM for angles and their measures. The concept begins with what is an angle. During this second unit, we'll be taking much of our knowledge that we learned last unit about one-dimensional objects such as segments, rays, and lines, and extrapolating it forward to two-dimensional objects, thinking about angles. The definition of an angle is going to involve a ray, so we have to refresh the idea of a ray. A ray is a line that has been cut to create one endpoint. Notice the left-hand part here is an endpoint, whereas the right hand is an arrow indicating that it goes on infinitely long. An angle is then formed when two rays come together to form a common endpoint. They then become coplanar, and their structure as an entire entity is called an angle. The endpoint that these two rays share is called a vertex, and this vertex is central and very important to the naming of the angle and the identity of the angle in general. So point B is considered a vertex. There are other points associated with the angle that we might find. For example, A and C are 2 points that fall on the angle. They exist on the ray beyond the vertex or endpoint, one on each, and these will become very important for our ability to name this angle. Points that do not exist on the angle nor at the vertex might be considered on the interior of the angle, like D and E here, falling inside the slope of the angle. If the angle were a flashlight shining into the darkness, you can see that D and E would both be illuminated by that flashlight, therefore they're on the interior. On the other hand, points not on the interior, not on the angle, like F, might be called on the exterior of the angle. When we name an angle, we have to have some information expressed within the picture. We could say that the angle is formed with two rays, BA, ray, and BC, with vertex B, but that's just too wordy. There's too much stuff going on there to really make it clear. So instead, by convention, by agreement, we've agreed that there's 4 ways to name an angle. We begin with a point on the angle, on one of the rays, and then visually draw it to the vertex, and then to the other ray, to another point on the second one. We indicate the beginning of this phrase. Effectively, we're calling these series of points a single object called an angle. So we indicate with this beginning mark, angle A, B, C. And we can do it from the other side as well, angle C, B, A. Those are the 2 best ways to name this angle. If there happens to be a number in the mouth here that's clear and articulating that this angle can be turned to this first angle, we can call it angle 1. The last and the least preferable way to call this angle, to name this angle, is angle B. Although the vertex is the most important part, and that's the right way to name this angle given this picture, we have to be careful. There will be times when we have ambiguity. In other words, multiple lines crossing, and B might actually be the vertex of 1, 2, 3, 4 multiple angles. Therefore, it's not specific enough. But given this picture, it's a reasonable name for this angle. Let's do a quick check. Please go through this. Pause the video for a moment, go through this and answer these questions on your own. I'll give you the answer in just a moment. Pause your video now. Okay, great. Let's check your answers. In order to name this angle, we should first look at points that are on the angle and the vertex because they're most critical in naming this figure. Therefore, the best names will be angle QSR or angle RSQ. Alternatively, because there is a 2 here, we can call it angle 2. And because there's no ambiguity in the picture, we can call this angle S. We can say that the angle is formed by 2 rays, SQ ray and ray SR, forming vertex X, or meeting at vertex S. But that's too wordy for us to use as an actual description. When we talk about the rest of the points, we'll talk about points that lie on the angle, like Q and R, points that lie on the interior, like M, recognizing that R, even though it falls with the letter inside the angle itself has the point on the angle. Therefore, R does not exist in the interior. As for exterior, we have only 1 point B, and then of course the number 2 doesn't reflect a point at all. It refers to the whole angle. It's for naming convention and it does not reflect a point. Okay, thanks very much.